Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now with our main topic. Egypt and the Foreign Ministry in Egypt said in a statement that blocking a ceasefire resolution in a military conflict that have killed more than 29,000 civilians, most of them women and children, is a failure in the history of the Security Council's dealing with military conflicts. Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Minister and Ambassador Mohamed Al-Orabi, former Foreign Minister. Good morning, Your Excellency.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? Well,
I'm
Your
fine,
Excellency.
thank you.
Yes, Your Excellency, Minister Orabi, now how did you follow the statements by the Foreign Ministry in Egypt criticizing the blocking of a ceasefire resolution and describing the resolution as a failure in most of the resolutions that is considered a failure in the history of the General Assembly or the Security Council's decisions?
Yes, but I think at the beginning, I think the American veto was expected, but this will mean that the Security Council cannot handle the situation in Gaza or even in any place, because the veto system, I think, is always causing a sort of hindering to any peace process or any settlement. And I think the Security Council, the first item in his mandate is to maintain peace and security in the world. But unfortunately, so far they failed to commit themselves by this duty. Of course, the American veto it will reduce or mitigate the credibility of the United States and its role in the Middle East. And this will encourage, of course, the Israelis to continue with their campaign against the people in Gaza. So we are supporting the statement by the Foreign Ministry. Of course, they expressed the view of Egypt.
Yes.
And how it's difficult to put all the pressure on the people of Gaza by this kind of policy by the American administration. So I think we should continue our efforts and exert maybe more efforts to go to the General Assembly to try to have another resolution in order to force the Israelis to stop this machine killing.
Yes, so Your Excellency, the United States have raised its veto or used its veto. This is the third time that the United States uses the veto concerning the war in Gaza Strip. The first one was a veto against the resolution by Russia. And this is the third time. How did you follow this?
Yeah, this is a problem that, the two superpowers, they are always trying to tease each other and putting the Palestinian people as a victim to this kind of policy. When the Americans submitted a resolution, I think there is a Russian veto, and when the Russians are trying to submit also the other resolution, there is an American veto. So I think this game is not... I would say will be helpful in order to have peace in the Middle East and try to urge and force the Israelis to stop the war. So we have to keep the diplomatic efforts and the pressure. And I think the public opinion and even some positions from different countries, like let us say Britain. Today, the British Foreign Minister, he is urging and asking to stop this, or let us say to have a ceasefire in Gaza immediately. So there is a sort of a change now in the policy and the positions of different countries, but of course the United States is always instrumental to help the Israeli side, and I think they always comply with the Israeli strategy and policies. So this, unfortunately, will be a very bad element and it will ignite maybe more violence in the Middle East.
Yes, so Your Excellency, Minister Orabi, also the UN General Assembly have asked the International Court of Justice for a non-binding advisory opinion on the legal consequences arising from the policies and the practices of the Israeli occupation troops in Palestine. So what's your comment on this?
Yes, the International Court of Justice, I think it is a very important element in this problems which we are facing in the Middle East. But as you just mentioned, it is an unbinding resolution or, let us say, decision from the court. It should go to the Security Council after that in order to put it in another resolution to force the Israelis to comply with this mandate of the Security Council. But the International Court of Justice, I think it will express the feelings of the international community that Israel went so far, and I think they should stop immediately. But today, I think the Egyptian delegation will present their position in front of the court. But as you just mentioned, it is an unbinding resolution. It will take a long time to have a final declaration from the International Court of Justice, and this declaration will go to the Security Council after that. But so far, we have to urge everybody on every country in order to push Israel to accept ceasefire, complete ceasefire, full-fledged ceasefire, not just the humanitarian ceasefire.
Yes, so Your Excellency, Minister Orabi, the court's judges are scheduled to hear arguments from around 50 countries. So how do you see the importance of this, and what are the most important countries among the 50 countries?
Yeah, I think it is clear significance that the international community against all these atrocities by the Israeli army, and I think this will give a real impetus to the feelings in the world that Israel should stop this war immediately. So it is a very good sign, and it will help, and it will serve the Palestinian cause, of course. But in the meantime, I think the Americans, they are pushing, or let us say supporting Israel by every means, politically, and even weapons and munitions and many other things. So this is the real dilemma now, that we have the United States with Israel, and they cannot face and challenge the whole international community by this very bad action yesterday, when they exercise their right to veto the resolution, which I think it will be a great loss for the credibility of the United States in our region.
Yes, so also these hearings are completely separate from the another case that is filed by the South Korea, in which it says that Israel is committing genocide. So will this have an impact on the current situation in Gaza, also the hearings and the arguments of the 50 countries?
Yeah, I think it will be a sort of moral pressure on Israel. But as you can witness, since the 8th of October, they never look to the international community, and they never comply with any demands by the different countries, especially the region here. And I think Israel now is outside the parameters of the region, and they should reconsider their policy in the near future in order to live in this region.
Yes, so also, Your Excellency, how do you see Israel's persistence on the invasion of the Rafah city, and especially it gave a deadline until the start of Ramadan?
Yeah, this is part of their strategy. You know, they are always trying to manipulate the people and the land. I think they always try to evacuate people from the land. This is actually part of the Israeli strategy in the region,
yes,
especially in Gaza. And I think they will continue this kind of strategy. They will start the campaign, maybe, I don't know when, but I think it is a sort of determination in the Israeli cabinet to go on with this campaign against Rafah. And this will create a new momentum, actually, in the region against Israel. And it might ignite more violence from the non-state actors whom are prevailing now in our region.
Yes. Your Excellency, Minister Orabi, Egypt was against, from the start, from the beginning, Egypt was against the forced displacement of the Palestinians because it's considered, of course, a war crime, and also because Egypt saw that the forced displacement of the Palestinians could dissolve or liquidate the Palestinian cause.
Yeah, this is the right policy of Egypt, and I think that was our position since the beginning of this campaign against the Palestinians in Gaza. And I think it is absolutely right to adhere to these principles and to their commitments. And the Palestinian question, actually, if the people will be displaced or evacuated from Gaza or from any part of like West Bank and many other places, I think this would be the end of the Palestinian question, and I think this is the sort of thinking of the Israeli government to try to solve the problem by, eliminating the most important factor of the question, which is the people of the land.
Yes.
And this is a clear strategy from the Israeli side since many years, actually.
Yes. So, Your Excellency, Ambassador Orabi, for 30 years, there were no negotiations concerning the two-state solution. So, but now the issue is rising again and is high on the agenda of any talks and negotiations. So, what's your comment on this?
It is not enough, to talk about the two-state solutions, actually. We should have a roadmap how we will reach this important target. But so far there is no roadmap for that, and there is no serious negotiation in order to achieve this good target. So it is just a talk between different countries. Everybody is trying to express their commitment to this principle, the two-state solution. But on the ground, I think the Israelis will not accept that under any circumstances. And this is actually be the duty of the international community to push Israel further and try to give them a sort of pressure in order to accept this idea. But so far, I don't see it in the near future. Because, of course, if you will have a transitional period after the end of this war, if it will be ended, I think this will create a lot of animosity between the two sides. So we need maybe a longer transitional period in order to embark on a negotiation between the two sides, which I think I can see it in the near future.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Orabi, Egypt was always, since the start of the crisis and on the 7th of October, was always keen on delivering the humanitarian aid, supplies, food and medicine to the Gaza Strip through the Rafah crossing border. On the contrary, Israel was always obstructing this, and things were not going to the Gaza Strip smoothly, the humanitarian aid, I mean. And also, in front of the International Court of Justice, Israel accused Egypt of being responsible for not allowing the crossing of the humanitarian supplies. So how did you read this?
Well, the whole world actually recognized Egypt as the main source of life for the Gaza Strip. And everybody, all the officials who came to Egypt and they visited the Rafah checkpoint, I think it was a clear picture for them that Egypt is trying to facilitate every assistance to the Palestinians. And all these claims by Israel, I think it is refused. Everybody knows that Israel, as part of her campaign against the Palestinians, they always create a sort of obstacles in front of all this assistance. So these claims, actually, it is very naive and unacceptable, of course, from the Israeli side. And the whole world now recognize Egypt as the main source of life for the Palestinians, and we could actually ignore all these claims by Israel now, because it is so clear that Egypt is instrumental in providing the Palestinians with the assistance and different kinds and aspects.
Yes, so Your Excellency Ambassador Orabi, Egypt was always supporting the Palestinian cause through the 75 years of suffering. Could you give us an idea about this?
Yeah, it was a very long history, actually, for supporting the Palestinian question. That is, even they go very deep in our opinion, public opinion, in Egypt, between the normal people, not just the politicians. So nobody can actually contest what we are doing to support the Palestinian question, and this is so clear for everybody. It is not just the common borders between Egypt and Palestine, but it is a sort of commitment towards the people. So we cannot even try always, to talk about this issue, because it was so clear and obvious that Egypt is the main supporter for the Palestinian question and the main supporter for the people there. And I think today we will receive a delegation from Hamas in Cairo, which means that we are in very good contacts with every, I would say, divisions or parties, or even the Palestinian resistance. They are most welcome also in Egypt here. So it is clear and obvious, so we cannot just repeat what we are doing. We did our commitments, and we did our role in a very good way so far.
Yes, Your Excellency Minister Orabi, also, how do you see the things under control or out of control in the region, with the clashes taking place between the Houthis and the vessels or the ships that are owned by British and United States that are going to Israel through the Red Sea? Also, the strikes between Hezbollah and the Israeli occupation forces in South Lebanon. How do you see the situation in the region?
Yes, we can stop all this chaos by one decision, actually, which is the ceasefire. It will be very easy for everybody to calm down and try to not to put the Middle East under the mercy of the non-state actors. To have a full-fledged ceasefire is the only way to stop all this chaos in the region. And I think it is so easy to reach this ceasefire, but of course the Israelis, they are so determined to continue their campaign against the Palestinians. And of course this will create a new maybe violence in the region, and it will ignite more difficulties in the region. The Israelis, they cannot live in our region with their parameters. They should live in the region with the region parameters, actually, which is peace and security and development. But yes, they are out of these parameters, unfortunately.
Yes.
So it will continue. It will continue. This chaos, it will continue, unfortunately.
Yes. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. I really had the honor to have this phone with you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador and Minister Mohamed Al-Orabi, the former foreign minister. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a short break and I'm going to be back with you.